Okay, we'll get things rolling here. A little bit about CMG for those of you who aren't familiar with the company. I know we got some real estate professionals on the call here, so if you're not too familiar with us, company's been around for 30 years. Founded in 1993 by Chris George. He's our president and CEO. He was the 2018 chairman of the Mortgage Bankers Association. We're large, privately held. Just got a little bit larger with the acquisition of HomeBridge. We're a top 10, top 15 lender, depending on how you look at the numbers. We do about 30 to 35 billion a year in mortgages annually. And we have branches all across the country, everywhere you are. And loan officers all around the country. Full range of lending products that you might expect from a top lender, really full range of lending products, plus 2 exclusive programs that you can't get anywhere else. One, the all-in-one program. I call that the most powerful loan on the planet. It's the loan I have on my house. And if you have not gotten yourself familiar with it, you should, because it'll change the way you think about mortgages and your money forever. Second thing we're going to be talking about, and that's our other exclusive program called HomeFundIt. And that's what we're here to talk about today. We were named the best lender for first-time buyers by Investopedia, and we've got a fantastic rating on Zillow. So get to know us if you don't yet know us very well. So HomeFundIt, what does it do? It solves the #1 problem that your buyer has today, and that is coming up with enough cash to get into the game. I know that a lot of folks can make those mortgage payments, even at higher rates, and, you know, depending on the price of the home that you're after, even if you're kind of downsizing because of rates being a little bit higher, you're setting your goals a little bit lower, the down payment is still a hurdle for most first-time buyers. It takes on average 3 to 4 years, according to the National Association of Realtors, to come up with enough money for a down payment. That's a long time to be waiting around to buy a house while you're working on that down payment. So if you can speed that up, you're going to create buyers faster, which means you're going to grow your business. Second thing it does is for you, it helps you hold on to folks that are long-range buyers, right? Folks who aren't ready today. There's far more of them in the marketplace hoping to become a homeowner than there are people who are actually in the marketplace buying a home. So again, if you can hang on to those folks while they get ready, and in fact speed them up a little bit, which is what we're going to be talking about today, you're going to create a bigger business. And here are the numbers. 82% of millennials want to buy a home. That's the largest home buying generation ever. The average age of millennials is, guess what? 32, 33. Guess what the average age of a first-time home buyer is? Yep, 32, 33. So the middle part of the millennial wave is moving through that typical first-time home buyer age. When you take a look at prospective buyers, people who say that, yeah, I want to buy a home and I'm thinking about buying a home and I'm getting ready. 63% of those are first-time buyers. But when you actually look at first-time buyers in the market buying a home, it drops down to 26%. Why? Down payment. It takes them 3 to 4 years to come up with enough down payment, so you have a lot of folks sitting around on the sidelines getting ready. If you can get them out there on the playing field, you're going to do more business. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. First-time home buyers, we all know the drill. They're struggling with big issues, housing prices, high rents and rising rents, and student debt, which we hadn't seen in past real estate cycles. When you talk to renters, 70% of them will tell you the down payment's the big problem. So confirmation. So when people work on down payment, how do they do it? Well, today, it's kind of a solo effort in most cases. And in about 25% of cases, parents are helping with a little bit of money with down payment gifting. You guys see this all the time, I'm sure. When you think about down payment gifting, we just sort of take it as it comes. This is the way this world sort of works, right? But the problem is, that old down payment gifting system that we're working with has a lot of friction in it. You got to chase down paper checks. You got to do gift letters. It's all very inconvenient, right? You got to do the gift letters just right. By the way, your buyer doesn't even know how to do a gift letter in most cases. They come to you and find out how that's done, right? And when you think about it, think about the timing of that conversation. The timing of that conversation when your buyer comes into you and you say, hey, were you thinking about getting any gift money from someone? And they say, yeah, mom and dad said that they would help us with the down payment. And how do I do that? Well, here's what a gift letter looks like, and here's how that's supposed to be. So they take that out and they get a gift letter from mom and dad and they bring back a check, right? Well, think about the timing of that conversation. They're sitting across the table from a loan officer filling out a loan application or getting pre-approved for a loan. The bottom line is that happens too late for anybody but generally mom and dad to be able to help. So because under Fannie, Freddie, and FHA guidelines, other relatives can help, they almost never get asked because that conversation happens very late, and there's all this friction in the game. And that's where we started building HomeFundIt. We said, this is terrible. Let's do this whole thing online like we do everything else in the world, so that we can take gifts online by a debit card or credit card, no offline paperwork. And that makes it more easy for your buyer to go out and talk to grandparents, aunts, uncles, brothers, cousins, sisters, and all these other folks that could potentially help with the down payment, because they can do it online. There's no offline paperwork. They just click, 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 and a few people can help. In fact, on HomeFundIt, anyone can help with the down payment. Friends, teammates, coworkers, these are non-relatives. And a big one, wedding guests. We just saw a campaign come in with $9,000 in wedding guest money just this last week. Maximum $5,000 per donor, so you can collect as much as you want on the campaign, just limits at $5,000 per donor. There's no commissions or hidden costs, no fee, so 100% of the money goes through to the transaction, and it works with every loan program except for HFA bond programs and FHA buyer's choice. So it's a fantastic program that rides along with your loan program to help your buyer build a bigger down payment. And think about who these folks are that are giving, and think about your own personal situation. When you graduated from high school or college, you sent out a graduation announcement to a whole bunch of people, right? What happened when you did that? Well, money comes back, right? Gifts and presents and things like that, and cash. When you got married, you sent out a wedding invitation to a whole bunch of people, same kind of list, right? And what happened when you did that? Well, everybody sent you a wedding present, and in fact, a whole bunch of people came all the way across the country to come to your wedding. So the bottom line is that there are people out there who know you and love you, and when you make a frictionless way possible for these folks to be able to help you, they will step up and help, and we see that over and over with HomeFundIt. It sets up very, very easily. Your buyer just goes through some simple setup screens, and presto, they've got a page on the web where people can donate to their campaign. That's what we call it. It's a customizable page where they can customize the photo and the story that we give them. It's a customizable little default story that they can rewrite or adjust. Loan officer and real estate agent are both featured on the campaign page. There's a place in the upper right where people can donate to the campaign. Second way to add funds, it's called Up-It. I'll talk about that in a second. And in the bottom right, you can see where all the gifts are coming in. We match those gifts coming in 2 to 1, up to the lesser of $2,000 or 1% of purchase price, because most homes are $200,000 and up. Generally, people are hitting that $2,000 very, very easily. For every dollar they raise, we help them with 2. And that's called the HomeFundIt grant. It's a lender credit automatically applied at closing. And there was only 2 requirements to get the $2,000. One is you have to be a first-time buyer. We use the Fannie Mae 3-year rule. And the second one is that you have to take home buyer ed prior to signing a purchase contract. Prior to signing a purchase contract. So don't put your buyer in HomeFundIt after they've gotten into contract, because it's not fun. So make sure it's done beforehand. And we have a 1-hour free over the phone Monday through Friday East Coast time system with GreenPath that will get them home buyer ed very, very easily. If you can't do a 1-hour free over the phones class Monday through Friday, there are lots of online options that you can choose from. It has to be a HUD approved home buyer ed. HUD approved home buyer ed will work. But again, ours is very easy, free, and they can get to it right from their campaign. Now, besides that 2 to 1 match, we also do these a lot with Freddie Mac's Borrow Smart program. It stacks exclusively with HomeFundIt, and if you've got a buyer that makes less than 100% of the area median income, they can get additional dollars towards either the down payment or the closing costs. It does require a separate home buyer ed. That home buyer ed is from Home Preservation Foundation, and it does count for the home buyer ed for HomeFundIt. So you don't have to do 2. You just have to do the Freddie Mac one, Freddie Mac Borrow Smart one if you're doing Borrow Smart. You can't use the HomeFundIt one if you're doing Borrow Smart. So it's a great stack on to HomeFundIt. I like to say these go together like peanut butter and chocolate. So you should use them every chance you get. By the way, Borrow Smart uses Home Possible, which is a 3% down payment program. So if you got Home Possible, you got 3% down payment, you've got up to $2,500 towards either down payment or closing costs, you've got an additional $2,000 from HomeFundIt, you've got gift money coming in from family and friends, you can make it, right? So you can put a lot of folks into a home that we're thinking, hey, this is just out of reach for me. Now, Up-It, second way to add funds to a campaign, and you do that simply by shopping. You click the button on the campaign page and it opens up a world of online retailers. There's 1,000 of them in there. Each one of them rebates a certain percentage of what you spend on the store back to the down payment as a pledge at closing. So it's kind of a retention feature. Each store is different. Sometimes even within the store, there's items that earn more and less, but the average is about 7.5%, ranges from a low of about 1% on the low end to about 50% on the high end. All the stores that you know and love are in here. I like to point out Home Depot is 8%, Target, Walmart, Old Navy. All the travel guys are in here, so if you're spending a bunch of money on a vacation, it's a great way to help somebody with their down payment. We have a Chrome extension that all the supporters of a person can install on their various Chrome browsers, and then you can go directly to any of these stores without even having to remember to go through the campaign page, and it automatically links that shopping trip to the person's home purchase. So it's a pretty exciting second way to add funds to a campaign, particularly good for campaigns that are long-range campaigns. And just like we bonus the gifts coming in 2-to-1 towards the $2,000 lender credit, we bonus those up-it pledges 2-to-1 towards that same $2,000. So it's a second way to get to the $2,000. You can do some gifting, you can do some shopping. So fantastic way to go. $2 for every dollar you get in up-it pledges. And again, that's $2 in lender credit for every $1 in down payment help from up-it. There's a third way to get to the $2,000. You thought I was done. If you share your campaign on social, Facebook, Twitter, or LinkedIn, you get $10 for every share, per person, per platform, per day. So the campaigner could generate up to $30 in a day, and their friend could come over to their campaign page, share the campaign page on their social media network, and generate another $30. And actually, we've had a bunch of people hit $2,000 just by sharing. So it's a pretty exciting way to get the word out on the campaign. You're obviously getting some publicity when that happens. A third way to get to that $2,000. Now, when your buyer sets up their campaign, they get to a campaign dashboard. It has a nice little to-do list that explains everything they need to do to have a successful campaign. Put up a nice photo, put up a nice story, or modify the one that we provide for them. They have email samples in here that they can use to get the word out to their family and friends via email. And if they don't want to do it on social, that is. They can link a realtor here. If the realtor has a realtor portal, they can start a pre-qual from here. Both the loan officer and the real estate agent are featured on the campaign dashboard, so they can get in touch with you if they need to. And then, of course, they can click right into their campaign and see what their supporters are seeing from the public-facing side. Now, there are two tracks to HomeFundIt, the Freddie Mac track and the non-Freddie Mac track. Both of these are very, very important. I'm going to do the non-Freddie Mac track first. You can set up these campaigns. Anyone can use them. Anyone can use them. Move-up buyers can use them. First-time buyers can use them. First-time buyers are the only ones that are qualifying for the $2,000, by the way. You can run them as long as you want. No time limit on either up-it or the funds you're raising from family and friends. If you're not ready to actually talk to family and friends, let's say you're starting this while you're still in college and you're actually not going to be buying a house for a year or 2 years. You can just shop with up-it for a while and bank a bunch of dollars towards your down payment just by doing what you're already doing. You start fundraising when you feel like you're getting closer to buying a home. Typically, that process runs around 4 to 12 weeks from the time you start really engaging with family and friends and telling them you got a campaign page and, you know, stop in and visit and join me on this journey. You want to make sure that you're getting your home buyer ed done before you get into a contract. And then because on non-Freddie Mac deals, we do require seasoning, there's an ACH button on the campaign dashboard. You click that button, dump the funds into your bank account for seasoning. Now, you guys know how long seasoning is. It's 2 bank statements in most cases. Sometimes with FHA, you can get it down to 1 bank statement. Talk to your underwriter. And then, of course, you're going to submit your loan application and close. And at closing, you're going to get your $2,000 lender credit automatically, plus funds from up-it applied to the down payment. And those ACH gift funds are already in your bank account. You can use them in the transaction. If you don't have time to season those funds, that's okay. Let's say you found out about HomeFundIt a little bit closer to getting into contract. You can shoot those funds into your bank account after closing. You can't use them in the transaction, but you can hold them in the campaign until after closing, hit the ACH button after closing, and then download your funds into your bank account, basically. You still get your $2,000, you still get your up-it funds, It's just that you can't use unseasoned gift funds in a non-Freddie Mac transaction. Now with Freddie Mac, it couldn't be easier. There's no seasoning required. You can set up your campaign. Again, run it as long as you want, fundraise as long as you want, until you get yourself down to the final, and then get into contract, submit your loan application. And then the funds that you gather in a Freddie Mac transaction are automatically wired to closing. There's no ACH route or anything like that. It just couldn't be easier. You can fundraise really late in the whole process, so it's pretty good. So it's the easiest way to go if you can do it. That's Freddie Mac Conventional, Home Possible, and Choice Renovation. We've seen tons of these loans to date. I think the number is actually closer to 1,600. Big loans, small loans, all different colors. It's fantastic. Every first-time buyer you meet could use a bigger down payment. So literally, and this is what the top home funded producers say, is they set everybody up on it because everybody can use a bigger down payment. The top 10 campaigns, we've seen some very large ones because there's no upper limit, and we've seen them go all the way up into the 40,000 range. There's actually quite a bunch more in the 20,000 range than this list even. This is kind of an old top 10 list. What I would say though, the sweet spot is for HomeFundIt, for a good looking, well-shared campaign, that is $5,000 to $15,000, 5 to 15 donors. And these are the key things to one of those sweet spot campaigns. Put up a nice custom photo, share your story with family and friends. That's the key. And we can always tell the difference between a campaign that's being shared and a campaign that's not. The campaign that's not, and I'll talk about this more in a second, is the $1,000 campaign, right? The campaign that's being shared very quickly jumps into the $5,000 to $15,000 range and sometimes goes a lot higher. So get the word out, talk to your family and friends. That's the key. Here's a look at a good-looking, well-shared campaign. This is a couple in South Carolina. They had recently gotten married and went back to the same group of people who came to their wedding, many of whom they'd been talking to about the fact that they were dreaming of buying a home. You can read that in the story down below that they customized. They basically only thought their parents were going to help, and instead 13 people helped with that down payment, raised $11,000 in I think a couple weekends. And they were just in their house sooner, stronger. And what's really important for you guys is that there are 13 people that help them, right? And some of you, particularly those of you in California, may look at it and say, well, 11,000 is a lot of money. In some parts of the country, it is a lot of money. And for some buyers, it is a lot of money. But what really is important for you as a professional is that 13 people helped with that campaign. Now, what do you suppose those 13 people are doing now? Well, they're telling all their family and friends about this campaign where they helped Kelly and Robbie buy a house using this cool thing called HomeFundIt, using this real estate agent called X and this loan officer named Y. And the bottom line is if you want to do the same thing too, go talk to those guys. So what we see with HomeFundIt is what we call the HomeFundIt network effect. With a normal home purchase, you basically have 4 key players on stage: loan officer, realtor, seller, and buyer. And by the way, this is the most important slide in the deck right here. With HomeFundIt, we see a campaign that has numerous buyers. And this is a well-shared campaign that people tell their family and friends. In the last one we were just looking at, 13 people were surrounding these buyers, helping them buy that home, being a part of that journey with those people, understanding what HomeFundIt can do, meeting the loan officer and the real estate agent, if not in person, through the campaign page. And having, thank you for your contributions and stuff going back and forth. What do you think all those people did? They went out and talked to their friends, and we see huge downstream effect on HomeFundIt from campaigns that are well-shared campaigns. And that's what we call the HomeFundIt network effect. This is your pipeline builder right here. So how do you generate all these buyers? Well, you don't do it by jamming your customer at the last minute and saying on a Tuesday, we're making an offer this weekend, so go out and tell all your family and friends about HomeFundIt, right? They won't do it. Nothing will happen, and they'll get the $1,000 check or contribution from mom and dad. But if you give your buyer time and you talk about this as early as you possibly can, like when you find out they're just dreaming of buying a home, that's the perfect time to set somebody up on a HomeFundIt campaign. Time is your friend because time gives your buyer time to work it into their conversations in a comfortable way at the backyard barbecue, by sending an email out now and then, when they're on the phone with somebody, when grandma comes to visit, right? When they're at a graduation, when they're at a party, they show the phone with the picture of their campaign on it. And they're talking to their friends and family about their dreams of home ownership, And it's very easy for them to work the campaign page into that conversation, invite them to drop by, but you have to give them time. It's the most important element of a HomeFundIt campaign, and it's no secret to the people who are originating a lot of these. The average time on a HomeFundIt campaign has grown steadily from 30 days when we first launched this campaign to 4 to 5 months now. That means that originators are out there, loan officers and real estate agents are out there talking to their future buyers further up the purchase funnel, right? Earlier and earlier about HomeFundIt, which gives them more time to raise funds and selfishly for the loan officer and real estate agent to build that referral network, which is that donor network basically. So that's why I say this is the most important slide that I can show you today, is how to change your behavior so that you build your pipeline bigger and bigger and bigger. And the donors are key to that. Family, obviously the biggest focus for most campaigns. Wedding, obviously a huge focus for a lot of campaigns. Right now, I think loan officers and real estate agents I know of are having tables at wedding expos from here all the way out into the end of this year, basically, that I'm aware of. It's the easiest pitch in the world. Let your wedding guests help you with your down payment. Most folks today getting married don't want the china and the glassware and things like that. They have most of the things they need in their apartment. What they need and want in many, many cases is a house. So wedding expos are crawling with future home buyers basically. So that's not lost on a lot of folks. So we see a lot of tables featuring HomeFundIt at these wedding expos. People are putting QR codes in their save the date announcement, in their wedding announcement, and saying, hey, you know what we really want is a house someday, and we'd rather have help with, we have all the stuff, we'd rather have help with the down payment. And by the way, every dollar you give is in many cases going to be worth $2 for us. So what wedding guest wouldn't rather help with the down payment than buy them an appliance, you know, or something like that. So huge, huge, huge opportunity. We've got some great wedding marketing materials, backdrops for expos, things like that. Talk to the CMG marketing department. Use Surefire, find those flyers. There's some fantastic opportunities there. Another huge opportunity here is the next gen buyer. That is the dependent of somebody who you've done business with in the past. Many of those customers that you've done business with in the past are effectively non-monetizable in the near future. They're sitting at 3% fixed rate loans. They're hunkered down while their kids get through college and start those first jobs, not going to move or buy or upsell or downsell for a while. So how do you monetize that client? Well, tap into that next generation. Now, the traditional ask is call me when your kids are ready to buy a house, right? Don't forget me, right? But with HomeFundIt, that's out. What you can do is you can sit down and have a conversation with that past client and say, hey, we've got this great tool that can help your kids become homeowners sooner. Thanks to your family and friends and shopping and things like that, they can get on track sooner, faster, and buy earlier. What parent wouldn't want that for their kids, right? So they're going to take that call. And you're looking at a picture of a young lady who was a junior at Clemson when she set up her campaign. Actually, this is her campaign page above here. You can see her in the graduation outfit there with her mom and dad. Her dad actually happens to be a real estate agent for the top producer, loan officer at CMG. He heard about HomeFundIt from her, came home, talked to his daughter about it. She said, well, why wouldn't we get started on that now? She set up her campaign as a junior. Then when she graduated, she put a QR code leading to that campaign page in her graduation announcement. And she had 17 people give to her campaign, and she was in her home, in a home that she owned herself by November. Fantastic story. So there's no minimum age on HomeFundIt. You can run them as long as you want. And the dependent person opportunity, you know, the kids of your past clients, this is a fantastic opportunity for HomeFundIt. So take advantage of that one for sure. Okay, part 2, how do you get this out there to your customers? We have a great tool called the Real Estate Agent Portal. It is a place where buyers can start a HomeFundIt campaign. It's got some great branding in it, and it's marketing ready. Very easy to set one of these up. It takes just a couple minutes. It's got the real estate agent's branding, picture and contact information, big green button where your buyer starts HomeFundIt. There's an ask a question panel so people can get back in touch with you. There's video that explains how the program works. There is a showcase, so as campaigns get up and running, those are featured on your portal and people can check them out and see how you're helping first-time buyers. Those are all live and you can click right into them. You're able to do a match on donations that are coming in towards closing costs, just like you help with closing costs today if you're in one of the 40 states that permit that. It's the same exact process. It's just that your match is visible on the campaign page. Why is this a good thing? 3 reasons. 1, you're incentivizing your buyer to go out and raise more funds. That's nice, right? But what it really is also good for you, because the more donors come in, the more that network builds. So these matches are fantastic at helping expand that donor pool, which again is that referral pool for you down the road. It's a great incentive to stick around, obviously, because the more they raise, the more your match, obviously, at closing. And then you're getting free publicity. Anytime somebody donates, your match shows up right underneath that contribution. Inside your portal, there's a marketing center. And on the marketing center, there's some great downloadable social graphics that you can share on social. And even better, there are 7 testimonial videos in that portal that you can share. Each one of them tells the story of how HomeFundIt helped somebody become a homeowner. In many cases, how they didn't even think they were going to be able to do it. And HomeFundIt completely changed the game. It's got great features like a contact form, easy to share buttons. You can download it and save it to your computer or upload it into your social media profile. And it's got your branding automatically applied onto the video. Each one of these videos has your branding from your portal right on it. It's super easy to share these. Each one of them has a different story. You can push them out there on a Friday, I like to say, and people look at it over the weekend when they have more time. It's very easy to share these. You can see my branding on this one here. I'm just clicking the share link underneath the video, and it opens up a share on Facebook, just like that, with it ready to go. I'm putting in a little bit of call to action copy at the top of the post. I'll show you how to get that in a second. And then I'm hitting the share button, and it goes right into my social media timeline. So couldn't be easier to do my weekend marketing. And it's a video, which is the #1 best thing to share on social these days, because it stops everybody in their tracks and it points right back to you. And as you know, you can boost that post if you have a Facebook page, and you can get it out to even more people and target people who are shopping for homes and so forth, and becoming home buyers. Inside your portal, there's a marketing kit and a page that corresponds to each one of those videos. And it's got the call to action copy that you need for your posts right on it, pre-written, ready to go. Just plagiarize it, stick it on the post, and hit the post button. And it couldn't be easier, as I said, to do the marketing for the weekend using those videos. So great way to get the word out and generate some great conversations. Easy to get one of these portals. Just go to realtor.homefundit.com. You might want to write that down, realtor.homefundit.com. And you're just putting in some information about your company, pick a name for your site, upload your picture, upload your logo in the opposite order, and write a little about me statement about you, and copy that in from your website or wherever. And then very important, make sure you're selecting your loan officer from the drop-down menu here, and that's what binds your loan officer to your portal and to any of the campaigns you're getting started from that portal. And the last thing you got to do is do one of those matching pledges. If you're in one of the 40 states that allow it, you can cap it at any amount you want. I see a lot of $500 caps. The important thing is to do something, because again, that incentivizes your buyer to go out and raise more funds, get more donors. That's good for you. Weekly email statements. Now, as your campaigns get up and running on HomeFundIt, there's weekly email statements that go to your buyer, to you, to the loan officer, keeping everybody abreast of what's happening on the campaign. It's branded, so that particularly good for long-range campaigns. You might have a year-long campaign. They're going to see your face every single week on this weekly email statement, and it gives you something to talk to them about. Hey, did you get the latest update? And anytime somebody shops or shares or donates, there's an activity triggered email that goes out, and you can follow up with those as well. So those happen automatically. They go to the buyer as well as the loan officer and the real estate agent. So go over to your buyer's campaign page and do a little shopping. Share their campaign page on social, and they'll get that triggered email plus the weekly email update that says something's happening. So it encourages them to stay active. And these emails are a great way to keep the buzz going on a campaign. Realtor.homefundit.com. Super easy to set one of these up. It'll actually probably take you less time than it took me to walk you through it. Last section here, corporate affinity opportunity. A lot of folks come to us and they say, hey, we're interested in working with a company who I know that wants to help their people become homeowners. And they want to put some skin in the game and help them with the down payment. Can they use HomeFundIt? And the answer is yes. We've got a customizable portal that company can set up, and they can even link it to their HR system. It's just a web page, and it's a place for their people to start a HomeFundIt campaign. Sets up really easily. They have to do a match. The company has to do some kind of a match, but it generates campaigns basically. The company can manage those campaigns and gatekeep them and keep track of them. But the company is trying to help their people. This is a great way to offer a benefit to their people in doing that. The one in the upper right is Graceland University. It's actually where Caitlyn Jenner went to college, and they use it for their employees coming in. The yellowish one here in the middle is called the Hero Fund. It's a big company called Hammer Enterprises. They're a gigantic retail or franchisor of Wendy's, Panera, and Noodles & Company restaurants all throughout the Midwest and New England. They have actually 3 portals, 3 different levels of support, 1,000, 1,500, and 2,500, depending on where you live. And I think they've got about 30 campaigns running right now. The one on the lower left is kind of a new thing. It's a builder who's using this portal to hold on to buyers that they interact with and where their developments aren't ready to go yet. And it gives the buyer a chance to build a bigger down payment in the meantime. And they can hold on to a buyer so they don't go off and buy somebody else's home. So it's a cool new test. And the one that's kind of in the upper left is a restaurant chain called Busboys and Poets. They're in the Northeast that uses it. And you can see the LO's pictures on these. So the bottom line is there's some great opportunities with some of these organizations. If you have a relationship with a HR director or president or owner, and basically you just want to share with them the consumer pitch, and this is what your people are going to see. If they're interested, we can sit down and do a follow-up meeting. I can help you walk them through this portal, how it works. We can listen to what they need and structure the program in a way that works for them. So if you've got one of these, let me know. And then last little thing here before we wrap up, there is a kind of an interesting opportunity here. It's sort of an intersection of that wedding opportunity and the affinity portal opportunity I just talked to you about. You know, at a wedding expo, there's all kinds of service providers there: photographers, planners, bridal shop owners, wedding caterers, and even giant wedding locations where people spend a lot of money to have their wedding there. All of them are vying for business. They're all vying for business with the same person you are at a wedding expo. And these people are all future homeowners. So you can actually have some of these folks set up a affinity portal as well and offer HomeFundIt platform to their customers as a value add. For instance, a wedding planner could say, hey, I've got this special portal. I know you guys want to buy a house. I got this special portal where you can have all the wedding guests give money to your down payment instead of presents and stuff that you guys don't need. And it's a value add. And if you use me as your wedding planner, I'm going to put in $500 towards your down payment. That gives them an edge in the marketplace over other wedding planners. It solves a need for the customer because they're hoping to buy a home down the road. And it's a branded way for that wedding planner to be able to get that value added benefit out to their customers. So cool idea. Kudos to Matt Schrader in Colorado, who has kind of started pioneering this. We don't have a lot of these yet, but I think there's some huge opportunities. And I know there's a lot of folks out working on it. We've developed a bunch of marketing materials for this opportunity. So we think there's some gold there. And also, if you're doing a wedding expo, those folks are all right there, right? So it's a target-rich environment. So there you go. Lock in earlier, accelerate and preempt. That's what HomeFundIt's all about. You know, the typical starting point for a relationship is way down here at the end of a long period of time getting ready to buy a home. And then they come and see a loan officer and a real estate agent. With HomeFundIt, we kind of turn that on its head. You can start a HomeFundIt relationship anytime, and the sooner the better. The earlier the better. When people are still dreaming of buying a home, they may not be ready. That's okay, because even if they're not ready to start fundraising yet, they can shop with UpIt, then transition to regular contributions when they're ready. In all cases, they're going to be done sooner because they're getting help from the outside, from other people. So you're getting a hold of a customer earlier, you're speeding up the process, and you're taking a deal off the table that your customer can no longer have. It all boils down to getting folks on these campaign pages the minute you meet them. And that's the very best day to start. And we talk to the top HomeFundIt producers out there, it's one of the first things they bring up. They say, have you thought about down payment gifting? And sometimes people say, a little bit, you know, mom and dad kind of thing. And Then they explain kind of what we've done to the down payment gifting process, how we've changed that, how it's online down payment gifting from anyone. And they let the buyer just kind of roll with that, right? They don't try to force them to do anything in particular. They just say, look at the power of what we built. Do you think you can think of some people in your lives that might want to be able to join you on this journey? And the earlier they do that, the more time the buyer has to figure out how to work that into their life. That's the key with these campaigns. So for you, it can speed up that process of helping your buyer be ready sooner. It can help you lock in these long-range buyers. For your buyers, it's a game changer because you take the friction out of it and you let them run with that. They'll figure out a way to make that work for them. So this is online down payment gifting from anyone. That's the elevator pitch, by the way. And when you really let people kind of understand what that means and what that's done, then you'll start to see the magic of the program and how that happens. So 4 steps to success here. Set up a realtor portal. If you're a loan officer, make sure your agents all have these. Short range, make sure you're kind of working this into every first-time buyer discussion. Remember, there's not a first-time buyer out there that couldn't use a larger down payment. So this online down payment gifting from anyone idea is really the elevator pitch to open up that conversation. Then you can get into all the bells and whistles of how it works. Update your older clients. This is a phone call they'll welcome. Tap into that next generation of home buyers. You've got a tool that can help those folks become homeowners. I know for a fact there are tons of young people with HomeFundIt campaigns just kind of grinding along, getting their life in order. They're going to be home buyers sooner, and they're already somebody else's customer because they're on a campaign. Share those testimonial videos. Make sure real estate agents, if you're sharing those, you're going to get some conversations going, and doing some other basics like links to your portal, signature block updates, and everything. And that's HomeFundIt, the program itself, the realtor portal, and the interesting affinity opportunity. In the chat, I just clicked the button, and your gift for sticking around is the HomeFundIt starter kit. It's a zip file that has all kinds of goodies in it. Start with the cheat sheet that's in there. It's kind of a couple pages of crib notes on the program. It's a great summary. It's got all kinds of links to how it works videos and a realtor portal promotion video, lots of testimonial videos in there. So that starter kit is great. It's got a quick start for loan officers. It's got a quick start for real estate agents, an FAQ document, copy of this presentation, and more. So grab that. If you have trouble with that link, let me know. Shoot me an email and I'll send you one on email. Sometimes coming off the chat, it doesn't work super well. So I'm going to go through a bunch of questions here and I'll read them and see if I can get them answered. I'm going to start in the chat panel. How long can someone run a campaign? Infinite. There's no time limit. If a client knows for sure they may be 1 to 2 years out, is that okay? Absolutely. We see a ton of those. We see 1-year-old campaigns probably every month showing up. And our top producers, it's kind of like air traffic control for some of our top producers. They stack them up like planes coming into an airport. You can kind of see them way out there. Campaigns getting rolling, and then the close dates are pretty far out. So it's interesting. This works with all jumbo. Yeah. Again, it just requires seasoning. So we can work with all jumbo programs. Is the shopping matching benefit and the sharing matching benefit only for first-time buyers? Yeah, because those contribute to that $2,000 lender credit. You're obviously free to share your campaign. It's just that the $2,000 lender credit is only for first-time buyers. So the matching part of it all. If you're not a first-time home buyer, can the borrower still get the other 2 bonuses, the share dollars and up it? No, that's all part of the $2,000 is all part of that first-time buyer credit. Again, they're free to shop and generate dollars for the down payment, right? Because anytime you're shopping, you're getting, the rebate dollars go to your down payment, not to the $2,000. So that's okay. And you're certainly able to share your campaign on social to get more people to come in and help you with your down payment. Talk about non-first-time buyers. We don't see tons of them because down payment gifting is generally kind of the domain of first-time buyers. But we do see, maybe once a month, a move-up buyer come through. I sort of put them in the divorce and disaster category oftentimes because it's people who stuff happens to them and then the family and friends need to kind of rally around them. We've seen some great wildfire campaigns here in California where people have lost their homes and people rally around them. So it can be done, but we see obviously more first-time buyers. Could a college student set up a campaign now without interested in buying in 3 years? I know there isn't a timeline, but is there a cap on how many years? No. And that story I was telling you about Mackenzie Grumble, she was a junior in college. So her campaign ran about 1.5 years, I think, maybe a year to 1.5 years somewhere, because she bought in November after graduating. So again, no minimum age, no, you have to be 18 to obviously get a loan, but no minimum age or timeline on a campaign. But again, we see a lot of young people starting campaigns. Is there a time limit to how many ACH withdrawals they can make? No, there's only one. So when you make that ACH withdrawal to start seasoning your funds in your bank account, that shuts down your fundraising ability. And there's a warning on that as you click that ACH button. It says, are you sure you want to shut down your campaign? And that's because we don't want additional funds kind of coming in once we believe the funds are then being seasoned, because then it sort of becomes hard to control what's going on in the campaign. So they can't take those withdrawals on a regular basis. It's a one-time shot to your bank account, so that you can get going. Do up-it matches ever expire? Nope. No timeline on any of that. Another question. Let's see. HomeFundIt starter kit. No, I sent that one out. Let's see more questions below that. Zip file worked good. That's good. Thanks. Again, if you do have problems with it, shoot me an email. Can you source down payment funds through HomeFundIt, season it, and then get a standard gift during the process from a parent? Standard meaning the rest of the world does gift funds. Yes. We see that a lot because sometimes parents or relatives want to give more than $5,000. We're limited to $5,000 per person, per donor on the campaign page. But if you wanted to give more than that in a traditional sense with a traditional gift letter and all the rules there that apply, you're absolutely free to do that. And we do see that a lot for people who want to contribute more. So no limit there. Okay, I'm going to jump over to the Q&A panel where there are some more. Is HomeFundIt an exclusive CMG product? Yes, it's exclusive to CMG and its joint venture partners, of course. Are the users locked into the agent and loan officer on their campaign? No, people are free to always do whatever they want. And it's their money, right? The gift money coming in is theirs. So they're free to take off and go to Vegas or whatever they want to do. Just like they are today with a traditional gift, right? You think, I get this question probably every day. What happens if the buyers, want to leave? And the answer is they don't do that very often. Once they start fundraising on the campaign page, they're very committed to CMG as the lender, to HomeFundIt as the platform, the process, to the $2,000 incentive at the other end. And so we rarely see voluntary exits. In fact, most of the exits we've seen, I would say the majority of the exits we've seen have been where people have hit a real speed bump, like divorce, disaster, job loss, something big that really knocks them off the rails. In most cases, in fact, it just happened yesterday, they ask for the funds to be returned to the donors because they don't want them at that point because they don't feel good about keeping them. But with a traditional down payment gift, that money's already in their bank and it's definitely their money then. With HomeFundIt, it's actually on our platform until purchase. So HomeFundIt is actually a retention improvement tool once your buyer starts fundraising. So, but again, they're always free to do whatever they want. They can hit that ACH button at any time and go to Vegas. We just don't see that very often because people are helping them with, their down payment. So they don't feel good about doing that. Is the Realtor matching contribution prior to close? So the Realtor matching contribution happens exactly the way you would do it today if you were helping your buyer with closing costs. So you're contributing at closing table to finish off those funds. It's just a public way of putting it out there. And selfishly, you're doing it because you're saying, hey, I am helping. The more you raise, the more I'm helping. And you're encouraging your buyer to get out there and raise more funds from more different people because, again, those people become points of referral for you down the road. Again, the most important thing I can bring up today is this behavior change that helps people start early, get in touch with more people, generate more points of referral for you, and obviously more dollars for them. Is Amazon an up-it participant? Great question. No, unfortunately, Amazon and Costco, or neither of them are UpIt partners. Amazon has their own program called, I think, Smiles or something like that. But they're unfortunately not. However, Walmart is, Walmart.com is, and most of the things you can get on Amazon, you can also get on Walmart, at least the top items that you would buy on Amazon. So it's pretty good. It'll apply in most cases. Let's see, I've got a video request, so I'm gonna, or a video request here. I will put that in there. I'm gonna copy that onto my notes here. And again, I normally have a recorded version of this up, and I'll share that with people if you send me a quick email. What happens to the fund if the campaign is not used for any reason? I think I covered that one. Funds are the buyer's funds, so they stay in the campaign until the person buys a house. And by the way, I should say, a lot of times we see folks that get declined for a loan, they just let their campaign keep running. They fix their credit or DTI or whatever it happens to be, or retool the loan, and they'll get back on track and keep going. So the funds stay there until they say otherwise, or buy a house. So that's the thing. Let's see, another question is, are there transaction fees for people making donations? If they drop out, do they not get the matching? So are there transaction fees for people making donations? No, so 100% of the money goes through to the transaction. We cover all of those credit card fees and so forth like that. So there's no fees there. If the people drop out and they bail out and take their money, no, they don't get the match. You have to buy a house. It's a lender credit automatically applied at closing, and therefore if you don't close, you don't get the match. So that's one of the major things that holds people there. It's great incentive. Is all the access through the Realtor portals. That's the #1 best place to start somebody on a HomeFundIt campaign. Realtor.homefundit.com, set up your portal, then share your portal link with your buyer. That's going to co-brand that campaign with both the loan officer and the real estate agent's branding. Now, if there's no realtor on the deal yet, LOs do have a custom HomeFundIt link that they can share with their buyers. You can get that custom HomeFundIt link on the Marketing Hub in the Tools section of the Marketing Hub. And if you go in the Tools section, look for the LO Custom URL Builder. And you can build yourself a quick URL that you can share with your buyer. And that'll start a campaign that's automatically linked to you, the loan officer, and then you can add the realtor later through either the dashboard to-do list, or we can do it in admin here. So, any other questions? Happy to answer any of those. Okay, again, if you haven't gotten it yet, go to the chat panel and scan around. It's probably in about the middle right now. It's called the HomeFundIt Starter Kit. Last question here before we wrap up. I see a couple more coming in. Where does the money get held? It's held at Merchants Bank of Indiana, which is one of our investors for the all-in-one loan, actually, as it turns out. Another question, can you self-donate to a campaign? Nope, no self-donations. And that's not a gift, actually, because if you're giving from one pocket to the other, you're not really giving yourself anything. So no self-donations. We grab those and kick them back. If the buyer's best friend got in the mortgage business between them starting HomeFundIt and actually finding a home, can they close with them but no lender credit? Correct. Well, so the bottom line is that loan officers and real estate agents cannot contribute down payment gifts because you're an interested party if you're getting compensated out of the transaction, so you cannot help with the down payment side. However, you can help with closing costs. So that's fine. Do you have a transcript of this presentation? There is a recording being made right now, and I will have that available. So just shoot me an email and I'll shoot you a link to the recording. Let's see. Okay, I think that's all of the questions that I am seeing. Oh, can an out-of-country person donate through PayPal? No, we just have Visa, credit cards and debit cards, and it has to be a U.S. credit card, debit card. So it can't be foreign sourced funds. Okay. Good stuff. Again, I'll wrap so that you guys can all get going. My contact information is on the bottom of the screen here, dnesbitt@cmgfi.com. Please reach out if you have questions. My team is here to help you guys grow your business using this and to help more folks become homeowners. If you start talking about it out there, I think you'll find it's transformational on a number of levels, and we're looking forward to watching as that happens. So go out, make it a great, fun, and safe weekend, and we'll see you out there on the HomeFundIt trail on the days and weeks ahead. Take care, everybody. Bye now.